This is the story of the 18-year-old kid who made a deal with the devil, murdered 2 women to win £300 million on the Euro Millions lottery. But the chances of winning the lottery is like insignificant. It's something like 1 to 350 million. It's really small. But what happens if you meet someone who's willing to edge the chances a little bit and who's willing to kill for that amount of money? Well, that has happened. This happened a few years ago, 2020, where Danyal Hussein, this is Danyal Hussein here, he murdered 2 sisters on the day that they were celebrating one of their birthdays. And all of this surrounded this contract that he had made with the devil, promising that he would kill a few women in exchange for winning this amount of money. Let's kind of do a little bit of a deep dive. So, first and foremost, we have to look at the 2 women, bless their souls, who were murdered. Bieber Henry and Nicole Smallman. So Bieber Henry lived in Wembley, northwest of London. She was a social worker at Buckinghamshire Council, and she was described by her friends as being a passionate advocate for safeguarding the vulnerable. That's beautiful. And Nicole Smallman, so she lived in Harrow, northwest London, and she worked as a freelance photographer. 19-year-old Danyal Hussein, the murderer. He lived in Guy Barnett Grove in Eltham in southeast London, and he had drawn up a handwritten contract signed in his own blood in which he had made a pact with a demon called Lucifage Rofacale. So, I have to give you a little bit of context around Danyal. He had in the past been a big private user of sort of freaky forums, right? He didn't have a lot of friends. He was a massive introvert, a massive private guy, and he had this obsession. So he was a viewer of videos by Utah-based Matthew Lawrence, which is an outspoken Satanist. He's known as E.A. Cutting. He is an outspoken Satanist, makes all these videos about like how to channel demons and how to use the demonic to get what you want. So he eventually got in touch with this dude, right? Lawrence's videos were subsequently removed from social media. Hussein was active on satanic forums and was extremely active on a satanic forum led by Lawrence, alleging that he was a psychic vampire and asked for advice about demonic pacts. Hussein was active on that forum for 2 years and last logged in hours before his arrest. Lawrence had advised that pacts should be entered with lucifage, signed in blood, brought to him with only candlelight, and organized for wealth, whatever that means. Hussein followed these instructions. In the 10 days following the murders, Hussein had spent £163 on lottery tickets and bets, but won nothing. Right? So he was eventually put on this like watch list when he was about 15 years old by the British government, because he had been accessing like really dark sorts of forums. They thought he could be a bit of a threat, but eventually eyes were taken off of him a little bit. So Danyal then writes out this contract that you see here. Look at this shit, dude. Agreement. For the mighty King Lucifage Rofacale, I will perform a minimum of 6 sacrifices every 6 months for as long as I am free and physically able. Sacrifice only women. Build a temple for you. That's nice. Do everything that I have promised. And then for me, win the Mega Millions Super Jackpot. Right? At the time, the one that he wanted to win, it was worth £321 million. That's a lot of money, dude. To receive fruitful rewards in return for the future sacrifices I make to you. The rewards could consist of wealth and power. To never be suspected of any crimes by the police, and also that the police will never know of any crimes that I have done or that I will do. So this guy obviously just got brainwashed by that other lunatic, right? And then he just thought, cool, dude, I just got to kill a couple of women every year, right? 6 every 6 months. That's 12 lives that I have to take every year. And I'll be a gazillionaire, bro. Why isn't everybody doing this? Freak, man, freak. And right here at the bottom, signed by Danyal in his own blood, bro. Look, Lucifage Rofacale was nowhere to be found, bro. He's like, I didn't agree to this. Bro, fucking hell, I'm a demon, and even this is too wild for me. Anyway, so let's kind of talk a little bit about the actual murder. Henry, Smallman, and friends had been celebrating Henry's birthday by hosting a picnic at Bryan County Park on the evening of the 5th of June 2020. In the early hours of Saturday, the 6th of June, the sisters were murdered. CCTV footage captured the sisters making their way to the birthday picnic. They had to kind of hold it locally because it was during COVID. After guests had left, the two sisters decided to stick around, right? They're having a really nice time. And they were taking photos. They had these lights that they were playing with. This is the last photo that was ever taken with the two of them. They found this on a cell phone that was uncovered close by. At about 1:30, that's when Danyal approached him and murdered them both. Danyal Hussein suffered a cut to his hand during the crimes. When he needed treatment for it the next day, he claimed that he had been mugged. Investigators believed that he would have committed more murders had it not been for that injury, which impeded his ability to hold objects. So things went pretty quiet, right? The actual family, on the 6th of June 2020, the day that they were murdered, they went to the cops and they said, these two sisters are missing. We need you to deploy police. And they said, we'll do it, don't worry, we'll do it. And they just never did. The 7th, the next day, Bibba Henry and Nicole Smallman's family found their bodies themselves because they went out looking for them, obviously going to the last place where they were seen and found. And they found those two poor women's bodies. Big investigation then gets launched, but nothing to really tie Danyal back to this, right? Aha. Around a month after the murders, a DNA sample was linked by police to Hussein's father, who had a past caution, and for this reason, the Hussein home was raided by police. They then go into his room and they find a bunch of satanic paraphernalia, right? This was amongst the collection. Just these weird notes and drawings, you know? This just doesn't really make any sense. They found the actual lottery tickets that he had been buying. He spent about £165 on it. He won nothing. And then they then found this. The actual note saying that he agrees to kill these women. They then completely put the two pieces together, and then he was arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. So let's talk a little bit about the legal proceedings. After he was arrested, he had told police that he had Asperger's syndrome, brilliant, and memory problems, and he refused to answer any sort of questions. He pleaded not guilty at the Old Bailey. The UK always has the coolest names for their legal stuff. On the 11th of March, the trial began on the 9th of June. Prosecutor Oliver Glasgow told the jury, given the weight of the evidence against him, only someone who actually believes that an agreement with a demon will work could refuse to accept any aspect of the case against him. It's hard to imagine that anyone could do to another human being what this defendant did to Bibba and Nicole. But to have planned it, to have prepared it, and to have performed it with such ruthless selfishness is truly terrifying. Eventually, Danyal was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum of 35 years to be served. That means he's going to be eligible for parole in 2055.